What is going on, everyone? This is Ninjageek here. Welcome back to another video. And unlike Call of Duty, today we're going to be talking about a game that I loved and now have fallen off the face of the earth from liking, and that game is Apex Legends. Now, a lot of you know that Apex Legends had its huge announcement back a few months ago. I think it was in February when the game actually came out, and there was millions upon millions of players playing it, and that number has drastically dwindled down to pretty much almost nothing. Apex Legends is dead, and we're going to be talking about that here today. Now, sort of similar to content on this channel, Call of Duty has had a major issue this year. The biggest thing for me is that I never really liked Black Ops 4. It just didn't really appeal to me the way that they prioritized Blackout over multiplayer, and pretty much how the game turned out poorly because it was rushed and it didn't really have a direction during development. And after reading a bunch of things online about and seeing videos about how the developers kind of scrambled to put Black Ops 4 together, Black Ops 4, simply put, is not my favorite cup of tea. I don't enjoy playing it. I uninstalled it, which means, and for a COD channel like myself, it's hard to make content on Call of Duty when the newest one isn't really up to my interest level or up to lots of other people's interest levels or standards. And so that's why a lot of the content on this channel has kind of plummeted, and hopefully Modern Warfare 4 will be able to change that, and hopefully we get some news soon about Modern Warfare 4 so I can actually make a Call of Duty video. But today we're not going to be talking about Call of Duty. We're going to be talking about Apex Legends, a game that could have done extremely well. It could have even competed with Fortnite. It could have surpassed Fortnite, but unfortunately, it will never. And they had the chance to, but they ultimately failed. And Apex Legends is not dead yet. As the title of this video says, Apex Legends is dead, but it's not dead yet, but it will soon get there. It is not going to certainly rise in player count anytime soon unless they do something drastically different, which isn't really expected based on what I'm going to be talking about here. But the game is just not there. It doesn't have the substantiability to continue to be a well-supported game, and I'm going to be referencing Drifter a lot in this video because actually before I did this, or I'm doing this video, I watched Drifter's Apex Legends is on life support video, and he makes a lot of interesting and important, useful information in that video as well, stating why Apex is on life support, and it is. The game launched successfully well, it did extremely well, and now look at it a few months later, and it pretty much has no views. Nobody's interested in the game. And the first major thing that we're going to talk about Apex Legends is the fact that there is no content in this game. Since launch, we have one new legend and one new weapon that was added into the game. And yeah, there are a bunch of cosmetic stuff within the Apex packs and in Season 1 and the supply battle pass tier, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there's a bunch of that. And I don't really find myself enjoying that because I didn't purchase the Battle Pass. I'm not going to buy cosmetic stuff like that. So really, the only major updates we've had in the last almost 3 months since the game has been out is one new weapon and one new legend. And that is it. And yeah, they have been talking about a new legend coming into the game and a new Battle Pass for Season 2. But we're talking about months and months away. As part of what the Respawn developers have been talking about, they have been saying that they don't want to push out content sort of like Fortnite does and Epic Games does with Fortnite, where they work hours upon hours upon hours to release content on a weekly basis. They want to do it over a longer period of time to keep the balance within the game. And that would have worked for a game maybe 5 years ago, but today, that's just not going to cut it. We have games like Fortnite out that are releasing content on a weekly basis, and I don't even play Fortnite, and Fortnite is still going strong. It is one of the biggest games that is still out there today, and it's going strong because of the amount of work and the content that's put into the game. They really set the new standard, and I'm not expecting that Respawn does exactly the same thing or even better than Fortnite does, but they had a chance to do something similar to keep the community interested in some type of new game, and they failed. And another reason why I think that this could be the case is because we know that they are in development of Star Wars: The Fallen, the Jedi game that's coming out, and I mean, it sounds like an interesting game. I am a somewhat of a Star Wars fan, so that'll be interesting to look into. But that's pretty much, I think, why the reason Apex has fallen is because they're putting all of their assets and work into that game, which sounds like a great game, but at the same time, you know, we have Apex Legends, which, in my opinion, was a great game and could still be, but... And they have the foundation for a great game, it's just it's never going to be, and the game is going to die pretty quickly. The other thing that I do have to mention with Apex as well is the fact that there are huge amounts of issues with the actual gameplay. You know, the fact that there's no content in the game, that's a huge turnoff for a lot of people. For me, yes, it is a big turnoff. I'd probably say maybe 40-50% of the time that's, you know, something that is substantial enough to the game where I won't play it. But the other half is the actual gameplay. And the Apex Legends gameplay, I think, in my opinion, is fantastic. I love the abilities and stuff that Overwatch has. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know people want solos or duos to come into the game, which hasn't come into the game yet, and we don't know if it ever will. And that's really the going back to a content issue on the game. But the other thing, like I was saying, that I want to mention is the gameplay itself, and it is good probably about 50% of the time, and the other 50% it is absolutely horrible. And what I mean by that is there are still problems to this day, from day one, about slow-mo lobbies, lag issues, frame drops, lag spikes, and all of those type of issues that are really plaguing Apex Legends to this day. And basically, these slow-mo lobbies, a lot of you have probably experienced this in your Apex Legends gameplay, and that's when you first drop in, and the game runs like jittery or like jittering all. It's like slow motion, you can't really do anything. That's a huge issue with Apex Legends, and it really makes the game unplayable. And the other thing that really turns me off from the game is the frame drops. Now, it won't be a frame drop. Like, I have never experienced a frame drop just randomly running around and there's maybe like a frame drop of like 10 frames. It's like, oh, okay, you know, no big deal. That's not what I mean when I mean frame use. Like, I'll be running at a 60 frame per second solid on my Xbox One X, and then all of a sudden it will tank down to maybe 10 frames, or I'll lose a second or two, where the game will just freeze completely, and that will be it. And then, you know, but the issue that I have with this is that it always occurs when you are either A, engaging an enemy, or B, you are near any sort of enemies. It never not near anyone, and then the game will drop frames. It always seems to occur when you're either engaging an enemy or there are enemies anywhere near you within some certain radius, for whatever reason, and it will tank the frame rate. And keep in mind, I'm playing on an Xbox One X. I'm not playing on an original day one Xbox, which it shouldn't still be a problem with that, but on an Xbox One X, you'd think that it would be all smooth, and they really haven't even seemed to address this problem with the game, and it makes it so frustrating, right? Because if you're playing Call of Duty and the same sort of thing happens where you lose a frame, yes, it is annoying, it is frustrating, because you could be on a high kill streak or something like that, but you always get back in the action because it's Call of Duty. I mean, we're talking about multiplayer here, I'm not talking about Blackout. But yeah, so you die, you get back into it. Yeah, it would be frustrating if something like that did happen. But Apex Legends is a game where you do have one life. Now, yes, you can be respawned, but you have one life. It's a battle royale game, and so when you get into the first gunfight ever, and the game, like the frame rate just tanks, and you lose, complete turn off from the game. I just shut it off because I can't deal with that. That's not something that's normal within gameplay, and it's frustrating because the only reason why you lost isn't because the other person had better gun skill, or you won because you had better gun skill. I literally lost because the game couldn't handle itself, and it just chose him in favor of me, and that's not fair. It's a gameplay issue that's still plaguing the game to this day, and really the only thing they could do is fix the lag issues and the connection issues from people dropping completely out of games. I've had that as an issue as well. Friends will just completely drop out of games, and the connection is perfectly fine after testing it, after resetting everything. The connection's fine, just the game can't handle them being in a game either with me or in the game itself. And yeah, Apex has a lot of issues associated with it, and the issues are turning people away completely. But then you have the fact that there's no content in the game. Apex Legends is dying, and it is going to be dead fairly soon. There's really nothing else they could do for it. I mean, yes, they could add in a bunch of stuff. They could realize right now what they've done wrong and try and implement more content and more fixes into the game, but that will never happen. It's sad because, to me, Apex could have been a good game, and that's why, I mean, there hasn't really been a lot of content here about Apex on the channel because, really, I'm not a Battle Royale guy, and I like to keep it to Call of Duty, but today I decided to make an Apex video because it is important and to know about all of this stuff that's happening within Apex, and the fact that it's dying. And right now gaming, at least until E3 comes and until the end of the year comes and stuff, it's pretty much dying. I mean, there's really nothing that I'm interested in, and Apex was the last straw. I mean, I started to play it because I didn't like Black Ops 4. I got bored. I didn't know what else to play. Apex comes along. It's a free to play game. It's like, okay, why not try it? And from going to a 100% right now, people are happy that it's going to die out because then they go back to other games, which their people are already doing. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm just beating a dead horse. Move on to something else. Hopefully, Modern Warfare 4, I am predicting that Modern Warfare announced on May 3rd, which is upcoming. If not, it's going to be the week after that, but it's very soon that we're going to be seeing some Modern Warfare 4 information, and I'm going to be covering it because really there's nothing else going on with Black Ops 4. I mean, yes, there is the new Operation Spectre, which is a whole nother thing for the Black Ops pass holders. You gotta pay $50 to get access to a map we paid for 8 years ago. Their Operation Spectre, which is bringing Spectre from a 3-year-old game into Black Ops 4. And everybody's, oh, it's new content, whatever. Yeah, I mean, there are 2 new maps that are actually new maps, but the whole rest of it is just recycled garbage. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And even, aside from the content issue that Black Ops 4 has, the gameplay just isn't for me. I just hate the gameplay of Black Ops 4. So that's pretty much why you haven't been seeing it. Like, I still have gameplay saved up, but what am I going to talk about? How the fact that I hate the game over and over again, that's not really that fun to talk about. So hey, I mean, I make videos about what I like, and in this case, about problems that occur within specific games, like in Apex Legends. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're waiting on MW4, and we'll see what happens with that game, and hopefully it'll be, good that from the time that it's announced and launch, even when that comes to play, that I'll continue to make, continuous videos on it, and there won't be sporadic moments where I'll just not feel like making content because there's nothing to make content on, which is pretty much, we're in the drought right now, and we need to get ourselves out. Apex Legends is definitely not getting out of the drought anytime soon. Let me know your thoughts on Apex and even Call of Duty down below, and what kind of state you're in with gaming, because right now I pretty much have nothing to play. I have no desire to really play anything. I've been going back to older games, like since the announcement of Back 4 Blood from Turtle Rock, I've been going back and playing a lot of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. Fantastically made games, even to this day. They still hold up really well, and they're super fun to play, especially with friends. But that's pretty much it. I really haven't played anything else. I don't know what else to play until, we get something substantial with Modern Warfare 4. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you did enjoy the longer style of video of just me talking about a bunch of things, mainly with Apex, but a bunch of things as well. And I'll see you on the next one. This is Ninjageek. I'm out, and peace.